Hi, welcome back. Well, we heard in a news bulletin earlier about the religious roundtable held here in Sydney last week. Now, at that meeting was our religious freedom and human rights guy, James Standish. How are you, James?
I'm doing well, Ken.
So you were there. You were the man on the ground.
One of them. There were representatives from a broad range of religions, a number of Christian denominations, Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, and so forth.
Wow, okay. Now,
and secularism, incidentally.
That is interesting. So, James, with that diverse group of people in the room, what were the sort of issues that rose to the surface that were of, I guess, general concern?
Right. Issues that you wouldn't be surprised by. The religious hiring rights of religious organizations, religious vilification laws, also some talk about anti-extremism measures, particularly in the Islamic community.
Okay, all right. Now, you mentioned hiring rights first there. Well, can you flesh that out for us? What
Sure.
exactly do you mean?
There's two main issues here, and that is some people believe that religious entities should not be able to use religious hiring criteria in their hiring outside of clergy. Okay. And so we had what you might call a frank exchange of views on that issue.
Okay.
And from our perspective, religious hiring criteria are absolutely appropriate within the faith-based entity context because all organizations in society have the right to hire people who buy into their creed, their mission, their purpose. So, for example, I've told you about this before, but I applied to Greenpeace many years ago when I was a young man.
Okay.
I was not hired because I did not accord with their orthodoxies.
You weren't quite green enough.
I wasn't green enough, or I wasn't green enough in their way. Similarly, if you want to work on a political campaign or with a politician, you have to be part of their
part of the movement.
Part of their movement. And to take away that right from religious groups, to say you can't do what everybody else does because you are religious in nature, would be not to create equality, but to actually discriminate against religious groups. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, most people agree that priests or administrators can be hired along religious grounds. They just don't agree that people down the line can be cooks and gardeners and so forth.
All right, so the example that's come up, and this has even come up as a proposal in legislation, that a faith-based school, for example, okay, well, the chaplain and the religion teacher should belong to the religion that that school affiliates with, but what about the geography teacher or the gardener or the cleaner? Why should that be important?
I think one of the things, whenever you hear this, or what about the gardener, what about the cleaner, there's a element of snobbiness there. There's an assumption that somehow the priest and the educated person, well, they have an influence, but the gardener, the cleaner, well, it just so happens that the gardener and the cleaner can have a greater impact in many cases than people up the line. It's not about your position or your education, it's about who you are. And at a faith-based organization, who you are and what you project is incredibly important. Never forget, Kent, Jesus was a carpenter. Peter was a fisherman. It doesn't take a PhD to emanate and to communicate the Christian message.
Boy, ordinary people who change the world.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks so much, James. Really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
And now it's time for Family in Focus.